Good morning, GigTube family, everyone out there. This is your DoorDash Granny coming to you live from Phoenix Metro. I actually live in Superstition Springs, which is kind of on the border of Mesa and Gilbert, Arizona. And this is where I choose to work. I love the area. I want to talk to you this morning about gig work and being independent versus W-2. And I'm going to tell you that I've been around for a while. I'm getting ready to turn 56 next month. So I've been working for many years in both an independent aspect and also as an employee. I've owned businesses and had employees working with me, and I've also been an employee at someone else's business as well as been my own boss. So my first experience in the workforce, I was about 4 years old in preschool, and we lived in this huge apartment complex. We had hundreds of people living in this apartment complex. So I came up with the idea to start a lemonade stand. And I was out there pimping lemonade for 25 cents a glass, and I was making my own money in preschool. That's just how I am. That's how I'm wired. I'm just an entrepreneur, okay? So then, as I got older, I started taking jobs, which started as babysitting. I started babysitting at the age of 11. And I would be paid by the hour for my time. So I've done both since a very young age. I've worked for many different employers, and I've also had many of my own businesses. And currently, I'm a gig worker with DoorDash and Uber Eats. I'm on several other platforms, but the DoorDash and the Uber Eats are the ones which work for me. I will tell you, having a job, in my opinion, is staying just over broke. J-O-B. Nice acronym, huh? Just over broke. They just pay you enough to keep you coming back, and you're just barely getting by when you work for someone else. Every single company, pretty much, on the planet is designed as a pyramid. You have tons and tons of workers on the bottom, which form the foundation, and without them, your company doesn't run. Okay? Then you've got lower management, middle management, upper management, and ownership. The people at the top, the very, very top, are the ones who walk away with all the money. And I gave you an example about the CEO of Chipotle. Yeah, it was Chipotle, making $38 million versus its workers making, I don't know, $12 an hour. Okay? Well, I don't know where you all live, but here in Arizona, $12 an hour is our minimum wage, and nobody can live on that. Apartments start at $1,200, and I'm talking some dumpy little place, tiny little dump, nowhere where you would want to live. $1,200. So if you're making $12 an hour, do the math. You can't even afford an apartment, let alone food, gasoline, car payment, everything else, right? So I was working in a call center last May of 2020, and I was making $13.50 an hour, okay? I was barely getting by, barely surviving, and I've always been in a roommate situation since I came out to Arizona, okay? So when they put us on lockdown and I was working from home, I lasted about 2 months being locked up in a tiny apartment all day long. DoorDash was my escape. So I started doing that full time, and I was making triple the money. Okay. So to me, I know it costs money to be a gig worker. Your car gets beat up. You go through a lot of gas. I mean, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, for me, I make so much more money and I'm so much happier. And I'll tell you why. Freedom is everything for me. If I get up one day and I don't feel like going to work, I just don't go. I don't have to ask some jerk of a boss, hey, listen, I'm sick today. I'm not going to be able to come in, and then take a brow beating over it. If I don't want to work, I just don't work. And that freedom, if I want to start late, I just start late. If I want to end early, I end early. If I want to take a break, I don't have to ask anybody, So for me, gig work works because it gives me that freedom and independence to work where I want, when I want, how I want, and with whom I want. If I don't like a restaurant, and I get an offer to pick up an order at a restaurant that I don't like, I simply don't take it. If the offer doesn't pay enough, if it's too many miles, if it's delivering to an apartment complex that I hate delivering to, I just don't take it. That's the beauty of independence and gig work. So for me, at the end of the day, my last W-2 job lasted 10 weeks. I thought, I'm going to go back into the W-2 world. And I was getting paid $20 an hour, okay? Here's the thing, though. I had a 1 hour commute each way. So I spent 10 hours a week on the road unpaid and spent $50 a week on gasoline just to get to and from work. So at the end of the day, I wasn't doing any better at that job making 20 an hour than I was at the call center job making 13.50, because the job at 20 an hour was only part-time. It was only like 26 hours a week. But I was putting in almost 40 because of the commute. So, for me, for my personal situation, I love gig work, and this is what I'll keep doing as long as it's available and as long as I'm able to make the money that I'm able to make. And that's what I wanted to tell you all. So it's a personal choice. If you love being an employee, go for it, because independent work has its downside as well. There's no benefits. You have to pay your own taxes. You have to pay for all your own expenses. But for me, at the end of the day, averaging $25, $30 an hour gross, before expenses, I'll do it all day long, because if I don't want to, I don't have to work after dark either. I start at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm done by sunset. So I just want to tell you all that. Just do a list, pros and cons, gig work versus W-2, and make your own decision. This has never been a better time to be able to say goodbye to your job during the Great Resignation, if that's what you choose to do. Happy gigging!